Shorebirds have bills that A. are all the same, B. have to be paid, C. are different species. The answer is C. Shorebirds have different bills depending on how deeply they need to go to probe for food. How do shorebirds find food in mudflats?
We've learned that mudflats contain an amazing amount of food for shorebirds. Now the question is, how do the shorebirds get at that food? They eat marine worms and clams. They have adaptations, and they use those adaptations in different kinds of habitats. I'm here with Stan Center, who is the Vice President and Executive Director of the National Audubon Society of Alaska. And he's been with a group of students who's been studying exactly what the bills and shorebirds are like for getting at these mud habitats.
As you can see, Pam, Hartney Bay and Alaska really has a lot of mud, and that means there is a lot of shorebird habitat here. The students I'm with today have been investigating the different kinds of bills that the shorebirds have and what they're actually eating. We've seen shorebirds of all sizes and shapes this morning, and they all seem to be kind of feeding in the same areas. Dane, are they eating different things?
Yeah, they're eating different things. They eat worms, clams, and a lot of other invertebrates.
Each of the birds seems to have a different shape and size of a beak. Each one is sort of different. Does that mean that they're eating different things? And what can you tell me about them, Craig?
Some shorebirds, like western sandpipers, have short bills for feeding on small clams near the surface of the mud.
We're lucky that we have with us Dr. Marianne Bishop from the Prince William Sound Science Center. She's been trapping shorebirds this morning. There's a net in the background here. She's got a western sandpiper in her hand, and we can see the length of the beak. You can see maybe, what would you say, Craig, about an inch? Yeah. About an inch long. Okay, thank you, and we'll be hearing a little more from Marianne later in the program. Now, so what Christina, some of the shorebirds have really long beaks. Can you tell them?
Yes, the godwit has a really long beak, and they get food that's deeper in the mud.
About how long is a godwit's beak?
About 3 or 4 inches.
Yeah, so it's really long and straight. And remember, in comparison to that western sandpiper, which was only about maybe an inch long.
Yeah.
Very, very different. So one of the things we've learned is that birds use the same areas to feed in, yet they're each doing something a little bit different. Dane, why is that important?
It's so the different types of shorebirds aren't competing for food.
Okay, you used an important word, competing, and another word that biologists use is they say that these shorebirds each have their own niche. They each have a different time and place and space that they're using for feeding, and so that they don't compete with each other. That's really what a niche means. One other bird we haven't mentioned that has been seen this morning on the mudflats is a whimbrel, and they have a long down-curved beak. Christina, what would they be eating?
They'd be eating stuff that burrows, like worms and clams.
And probably things that are real deep.
Yes.
Maybe polychaete worms deep down in those burrows, so they have that long curved beak for getting down there. So not all shorebirds use mud habitats, and you see it here at Hartney Bay. We've got lots and lots of mud, but they also use other kinds of wetlands, marshes and estuaries and sedge flats, and we have some of those habitats here as well, and we're going to find out what's happening in a marsh habitat.